ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. The text messages after Charlie Kirk was murdered reveal so much and tell so many new truths. We got to cover this one, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, if you don't know, you're about to find out. Let's get into some of the straight game.
Life is like those cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy Delray Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, click on the thumbs up button. Also subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And like I always say, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and click on what appears to be that little bell notification right below this video. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna get right into it. So shortly after the situation with Charlie Kirk being murdered, there was a lot of rumors that came out. One of the rumors is that the shooter, Tyler Robinson, it was kind of some transgender type of deal where, you know, the transgender movement and all of these other stories that are formulated throughout the media, right? Ladies and gentlemen, today, Tyler Robinson was formally charged with murder with aggravated circumstances, and the prosecution is actually seeking the death penalty. And so they basically stacked it up on him. He was sitting in there in the courtroom. He had on what seemed like some kind of a vest, anti-stab vest or something like that. I think he probably in isolation or solitary confinement, if you will. But ladies and gentlemen, the text messages show a lot. And I'm gonna get right into it. I think this is very important to really put the context to what people were trying to say. Like I said, once again, we're gonna do it like this. Look, so the roommate, and so when you deal with this, it said police interviewed Robinson's roommate, a biological male, who was involved in a romantic relationship with Tyler Robinson. The roommate told police the roommate received messages from Robinson about the shooting and provided these messages, the following messages to the police, right? So check this out. So first off, it is a fact now. We understand that Tyler Robinson was in a gay relationship, and him and his roommate were gay. Like I said, it does not say anything in regards to transgender or whatever. Like I said, I don't really know anything about like how all of that works, but I believe like transgender would be different from somebody who is actually a gay male from that perspective, if you will, right? But it is confirmed that Tyler Robinson, the alleged shooter of Charlie Kirk, was in a relationship with another male, if you will, like I said. And the distinction here is made in, it said the police interviewed Robinson's roommate, a biological male who was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. Like I said, the roommate told police the roommate received messages from Robinson about the shooting and provided these messages to police. On September 10th, 2025, the roommate received a text message from Robinson which said, drop what you're doing and look under my keyboard. The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. Police found a photograph of this note. Ladies and gentlemen, this goes to show you that despite what the mainstream media and people out there trying to push that this was some kind of conspiracy with Tyler Robinson's transgender, some kind of transgender movement and all of that, once again, it proves not to be true. Like I said, what I always try to do is give the facts about the situation. As we read right here, basically Tyler Robinson is telling his roommate look underneath the keyboard, and he found a note that stated that I had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. Police found the photograph. So what that's saying is that the roommate knew nothing about it. The roommate wasn't involved, wasn't informed, on none of those things, which is very important, ladies and gentlemen, right? Just dealing with the facts. The following texts were exchanged, and it took place. Check it out. This is crazy, man. This is actually crazy. Let me see. So, as we see, said after reading the note, the roommate responded, "What? You're joking, right?" Like he can't even believe, what Tyler is actually sending him. So he's basically saying, after the note, the roommate responded, "What? You're joking, right? Robinson, listen." And Robinson goes on to say, "What? I'm still okay. I am still okay, my love." So that right there, my love, confirms that they were in a gay relationship, right? Like I said, they were trying to explain it as some kind of transgender situation, but it doesn't seem like it, because once again, there was some video of the other young man online. Didn't seem, like he was in, I guess, transformation or trying to become transgender or whatever they were saying. Like I said, but it is true, factual, that Robinson and his roommate were in a gay relationship. He said, "I am still okay, my love. I am stuck in Orem for a little while longer, yet shouldn't be long until I can come home. But I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret until I died of old age. I am sorry I involved you." So once again, Tyler Robinson basically apologizing to his roommate / lover, that he apologizes and sorry that he's involving the roommate, and hope that he could keep this a secret, him killing Charlie Kirk, until his old age. That didn't seem like that was going to happen, and hasn't happened right now. He's in a Utah County jail somewhere, right? The roommate, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" Robinson said, "I am sorry." The roommate, "I thought they caught the person." Robinson said, "No, they grabbed some crazy old dude and then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering." And the roommate asked Tyler Robinson, "Why?" Robinson said, "Why did I do it?" And this is very important, because this goes into the reason, because they've been trying to, in mainstream media, they've been trying to give out the reason and say, yeah, it was because of this, and it was because of left wing that, and all of this, that, and the other. This is very important, because Tyler goes into why he did it. More importantly than anybody, like I said, anybody that's been trying to paint this picture, right? He said, "Why I did it?" He said, "Yeah." He said, Robinson said, "I had enough of his hatred," meaning Charlie Kirk's hatred. "Some hate can't be negotiated out." He said, "If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it." So basically, while this was going on, Tyler, he was basically lingering around, watching them make and watching, I guess, where he had put the rifle at, right? So he's watching them and watching where he put the rifle at, hoping that he can go get it, and basically saying, and if he can get it, he wouldn't have left any evidence around, right? The roommate, once again, goes to show that the roommate knew nothing, or Tyler's a lover or whatever, didn't know anything about it. The roommate says, "Well, how long have you been planning this?" Right? So evidently they had a relationship, but they didn't have a relationship where they were that close, based on the fact that, the roommate didn't know, because he's asking Tyler, "How long have you been planning this?" He said, "A bit over a week. I believe I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. And he's still talking about the rifle. But the roommate's basically trying to find out, well, how long you been planning on trying to, kill Charlie Kirk, right? And then Tyler Robinson said, I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. He don't want to take a chance in going out there and trying to actually retrieve this rifle, right? And Robinson then goes to say, he said, I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it, meaning the rifle that he had shot Charlie Kirk with, right? As soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried of what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle, right? He said, I don't know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. Now that's crazy. So as much as they were touting on the news that Tyler Robinson had planned this situation, the fact of the matter is he didn't plan it that well, because he's talking about he doesn't even know whether the rifle had a serial number on it or not. Let's be clear. Hypothetically, if it did have a serial number, which most hunting weapons do have a serial number, it would eventually have gotten back to, if not to Tyler Robinson, but to his family. And I'm sure they probably were on top of that, right? Prior to him to turning himself in, right? He said, I worry about prints, right? I had to leave in a rut. He said, I had to leave it in the bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with me, right? I might have abandoned it and hope that they don't find prints. How the fuck will I explain losing it to my old man? This goes to show you the, I guess, the lack of concern even for Charlie Kirk at that time, because Tyler Robinson, he's not even worried about what he just did. He's basically trying to get the gun and get it back to where he got it from, and basically asking, when he was like, how the fuck will I explain losing it to my old man, to his father, right? This is amazing, man. This is amazing. And like I said, once again, so the fact of the matter is that what the media has been pushing out there, Fox News, all of these other channels, and how why it was alleged that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. Basically, you see it right there. 2 paragraphs, or what I should say, 2 paragraphs up, where he says, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully, they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. So at the same time, he's sitting there waiting. He's, I guess, scouring the internet, social media and all of those things, watching and trying to figure out whether they found the rifle or not yet, right? So, yeah. Wow. Amazing. So now he says, only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel, if you will, right? He said, remember how I was engraving bullets? The fucking messengers are mostly big memes. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the media was trying to describe what Tyler Robinson was engraving on the bullets as some kind of message, some kind of transphobic message or something like that. Once again, this is why the information and the truth is so important, because they took it out of context. They took the whole situation out of context, ladies and gentlemen, and he's explaining to his roommate / lover, right? He said, remember how I was engraving bullets, right? He said, the fucking messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke, right? So basically, this is what he was doing, because he already kind of knew he was probably watching Fox News. So basically, he said, if I see notices bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right. He said, all right. He said, all right. He said, I'm going to leave it. And that's really fucking sucks, right? So basically he's saying, yo, you know what? I'm not going to be able to go get, the rifle. He said, I'm going to leave it. You know, that fucking sucks. So, you know, but we know, as we know, they had got the rifle. He said, but basically, judging from the day, I'd say grandpa's gun gun does just fine. I don't know. I think that was about a $2,000 scope. So I guess he's talking about the scope on top of the rifle. Basically that it was a $2,000 scope. You know what I mean? I guess the scope cost more than the gun. So I see why he was so accurate, right? He said, Robinson tells him, delete this exchange. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it's very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. Wow. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, as you see right here, yeah, this is crazy, man. This is crazy. Tyler Robinson has been charged basically with, he's facing the death penalty. I just wanted to bring this to you guys. Like I said, I think it's more important that we see what's really going on than the media trying to explain it to us and everybody trying to tell us what it was and what it is. As a matter of fact, and they were trying to, like I said, once again, the narrative was that it was some kind of gay, transphobic, you know, left wing, radical, and all of these other things, right? That's simply not what it was. Tyler Robinson came from a MAGA-loving family, Republican family. He was from with all representations of the text messages going back and forth. He was in a gay relationship with the young man that was back at their apartment. And once again, but we know for a fact now that the young man that he was in a relationship with did not have any knowledge of or did not know what was going on, right? And it was basically Tyler Robinson's idea to go and shoot Charlie Kirk. He said he'd been planning it for about a week, basically using his grandfather's rifle. So the grandmother was actually right. The grandmother had said that basically that Tyler Robinson didn't own a weapon when she spoke out and talked about it. Yeah, so this is basically what really, truly, honestly happened and the motive behind it. And like I said, once again, and I think the part of the motive is very important, ladies and gentlemen. You know, like I said, if you look at it, he said, you know, when the roommate basically asked him, you know, right here, you see it right here, he asked him, he said, why? And Robinson said what? He asked him why. Right there, you see down there, he said why? He said why? Why did I do it? And the roommate said, yeah. He said, I had enough of his hatred, right? So it wasn't about, I don't know, like I said, what hatred he was talking. I had enough of his hatred, right? And some hate can't be negotiated out. He said, if I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again, hopefully, they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. So at the time that he's texting, right? Texting his roommate and all of that, right? He's texting. He's actually looking at Fox News, trying to see if any news came across that they found the rifle or not. Amazing. So while everybody had thought, you know, including the people, you know, us watching the news at the time, as the story was developing, everybody that thought that he probably had took off already, little do we know that he's laying low, sizing them up, right? And looking at them, doing what they're doing, basically saying that they have blocked off the streets and all of these other things. He's looking over there close to the bushes to see, you know, if they over there or they might have found the rifle. So he's laying low, waiting for them to leave. You know what I mean? Talking to his roommate and telling his roommate and explaining to his roommate why he did it. And he said he got tired of the hatred. Now, one can look at it and say, well, because Charlie Kirk did say a lot of stuff about the LGBTQ community, right? And now we know that Tyler Robinson was in a gay relationship. You can now see and understand that it wasn't about, I wouldn't say political views, right? I wouldn't say it was more about political views as it was about being homophobic, right? I think from what if you look at the situation and you understand, like I said, if you look at the what he's saying, he said, well, why did he do it? He said, I had enough of his hatred. Hatred for what? Now we know, right, that Tyler Robinson was in a gay relationship. I can surmise to say, yo, okay, he's saying that he had enough of his hatred because there was a lot of things that Charlie Kirk had talked about the gay community and stuff like that. So knowing now, confirming now, not that Tyler Robinson's roommate was some kind of transgender, none of that would be true at this particular point, because as you see at the top of this message, right, when it says police interviewed Robinson's roommate, a biological male who was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. It doesn't say anything about him being transgender and anything like that, like they were pushing out there in the mainstream media, right? They said he is a biological male, right? You know, and that he was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. And so I think, you know, for whichever role they played in their relationship, when it came down to it, and you go down here to the bottom, basically, like I said, the Robinson's first thing was when he told, you know, his roommate, what'd he say? What he told him on September 10th, he's basically said, Robinson said, drop what you're doing, okay? Look under the keyboard. The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, I had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. Police found the photograph of the note. The following text exchange took place. After reading the note, the roommate responded, what? Like in disbelief, and basically said, you're joking, right? And Robinson says, which confirms when he responds to that text, Robinson says, I am still okay, my love. So basically that confirms right there that they had some kind of romantic relationship from that perspective. But more importantly, I think getting into understanding that and deciphering the letter, one could basically decipher it as to say, when the roommate asks, well, why? He said, and Robinson said, well, why did I do it? And the roommate said, yeah. He said, I had enough of his hatred. And hatred for what? And it could have been a many of things that he hated, but like I said, I will take it into consideration in reading the letter, the fact that Tyler Robinson knew that he was gay, himself, meaning himself, and his roommate. And like I said, and he probably got wrapped up in you know, Charlie Kirk's speeches and the lectures and the things that he was talking about in regards to the gay community. And remember, Charlie Kirk had said something in regards to gay people that they should be, they basically should be to put to death, right? He said something about the gay community and something about he thought that all trans and gay people should be put to death, if you will. And so once again, that would explain why Tyler Robinson did what he did. It wasn't because I wouldn't even call that a political view. I would just call that outright what do they call it? Homophobic, you know, hate or whatever, you know what I mean? They call it a hate crime or speaking hatred towards a certain group of people, whether it be, you know, African American or whatever have you, right? And like I said, once again, they say freedom of speech, but just watch what you say. You know what I mean? And so I guess, you know, Tyler Robinson felt like, hey, you know what? He said, I had enough of his hate. He said, some hate can't be negotiated out. And that was his feelings. And so therefore he did what he did. And then you know, the funny part is, I wouldn't say, well, funny, not funny in the funny, but And the interesting part, should I say, is when he says, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. And then he goes from that thought right there, but some hate can't be negotiated out. Now, mind you, he already shot Charlie Kirk dead. He said, if I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Amazing. Amazing. He said, going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. So like I said, once again, at that moment that he was texting his roommate, his lover, he was actually on social media looking to see if they found the rifle. Amazing. Amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Wow. So like I said, more importantly, I just wanted to bring you guys this. And yeah, these are the facts, man. These are the facts. And the reason that this came out, I believe this came out as part of what that was, you know, the media, the news. And today, Tyler Robinson was arraigned in court and formally charged with the death of, or should I say, the assassination, murder, or shooting of Charlie Kirk, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, once again, thank you for tuning in. Your boy Delray, straight gang.
Life is like some cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.